Hello everyone, welcome back to TouchTheFireTwice. I'm Joshua, and I'm here today to do a brand introduction and in-depth sniff comparison candle review. First of all, if you are new here, welcome. I want to share a bit about my mission here at TouchTheFireTwice and how I do it. So really my mission is to share my own love of fine home fragrance, as an enthusiast, an educator, a reviewer, to inspire you hopefully to increase your knowledge and understanding of fragrance and ultimately enhancing your experience and the scent memories that you create and cherish. And one of the ways I work towards that mission is through videos like this. And so I sometimes will do an in-depth sniff comparison review where I will take a fragrance, read about it, kind of pick apart the notes, take my own analysis of it, say, I think it smells like this, sort of like that. Let's talk through what do these notes mean? What's the definition of bergamot or petitgrain or all these notes that we may have heard of but don't really know what they are, what they're supposed to smell like, what they mean. Go a little bit deeper into that. Talk about the candle's actual performance, talking about the wicks, the wax, the throw, projection, all that good stuff that actually is important to get the fragrance that we love into the air and into our noses. And then I sometimes will take that deeper and do a in-depth sniff comparison review where I do all of that, plus then compare it to some existing fragrances or candles that you might be familiar with to say, hey, this one has a vanilla that's really similar to the note that's in this candle. Or, oh, even though it has the cedar wood, it's not like the cedar wood that you get from that candle. So that it's not just me saying, hey, I really like this or I don't like that, but it also is helping you almost kind of build the fragrance experience through notes that you already may be familiar with from other blends to say, oh, I do think I would like that because if it smells like this and this and this, kind of, your scent memory is very strong and it really helps you understand what something might smell like without actually being able to sniff it through the video. And so in addition to that, as I've been working on kind of exploring and having my own fragrance journey, I've been experiencing a lot of new brands. And so I also like to bring in brand introductions that will then also have reviews within them, just because there's so much out there from, mass market mall brands to high-end luxury apothecary brands that are, run the whole gamut of experiences. And so brand introductions help me and help you learn, what is this brand? What do they stand for? Who are they? Where do they come from? What's their story? And what does their product offering look like? And what do I think of it? So that is what I'm gonna do today with a brand that I think a lot of folks are familiar with, Thymes. Thymes, like the herb, and this is their Eucalyptus scented candle. So I will say this is a post-burn review, so I have burned this candle once or twice, so I will be able to talk about the post-burn performance as well as the blend. And I do have one other scent here, another candle that I will be comparing this to. So this is an in-depth sniff comparison review. And so Thymes, I was vaguely familiar. I'd heard of them a little bit here and there. They're one of those sort of mid-market brands that's sold primarily through their website, but also specialty retailers. So think gift shops, garden centers, Hallmarks, hospital gift shops, a lot of TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Ross, mass market retailers, overstock retailers can also carry Thymes products. It says it was started in 1980, so it is an established company. And it just says on the website that their founder had a love of nature, a passion for art, and a desire to help people find beauty and balance in their lives, that she ran an art gallery and then took her business knowledge and funds from the art gallery to start making products in her kitchen, and then it turned into Thymes. But it's a generic she. It doesn't say who she is, if she's still with the company, anything beyond there. So though it is likely accurate, it's a bit of a story because you're not actually having that connection to who this person is and why they're doing it or hearing from them, but that's fine. For all we know, she may no longer be with us. Anyhow, they have a very wide mix of products. So bath and body products, home fragrance products, household cleaning products. The differentiator that they claim is unique fragrances, beautifully packaged with hardworking formulations. When it comes to their home fragrance, they offer candles, reed diffusers, mists, and the way they look at it, their fragrance, their connection, their experience, kind of either their philosophy or their beliefs. And so when it comes to their home fragrance, they speak on the fragrance, the connection to fragrance, and the experience of their fragrance. So they say they're creating fragrances that are familiar yet intriguing, bringing a sense of warmth to the home. For the connection, they say through beauty and fragrance become intertwined with nature, people, and tradition. And then finally, the experience of the product, they say thoughtful and memorable product packaging and experience for home and gifting. So a little bit kind of marketing clinical on that side. It sounds more like what they would be saying if they were at a trade show trying to tell gift shops to purchase their products. Alas, no big deal. It's still, I don't need to be sold, on some artisanal, homemaker, someone just took their passion. That doesn't have to be every brand. They can still create great products even if they are just a corporation. That's not the end of the world. Hello, Bath & Body Works. When we think of their wax products, they have everything from $10 wax melts up to 40-ounce 4-wick $104 candles, and everything in between with a ton of different vessels. There's not a really clean sort of, hey, this is their traditional size, burn time vessel. They go all over the place, which is, I think, interesting. So you're going to get a wide variety across different scents in sizes and actual vessels and all that. They do say that they use essential and synthetic oils, as most brands do, though they're fairly upfront with that, and they use 100% food grade paraffin. So paraffin is not as environmentally friendly, sustainable, not as clean of a burn. It is going to be a nice strong burn because paraffin literally weighs less than soy molecules. So the sort of throw and projection is hotter, faster, further oftentimes, but it's not going to be as environmentally conscious as your other things like your soy wax, coconut wax, etc. But digging into eucalyptus, I wanted to try this because one of my favorite scents of all time is a eucalyptus blend, and it's not made anymore. I'll give the heads up, it's from Slacken & Co. years back, and I have not been able to find anything like it. And this is pretty similar, which is exciting. What I will say I really enjoy about Thymes is the notes that they list. They have a really nice description on their website of each candle's 4 to 6 notes, which is more than some brands give us. And there's a way when you click through that it actually will describe exactly what that note is, which again, for just a sort of mid-market brand, that's really impressive. You would think some of the higher end brands would go more in depth on the educational side of things. And so major credit to Thymes. They do a lot when it comes to, if you want to see it and click through, to really educate you on what you're sniffing and smelling, which I really appreciate and can totally get behind that. Now, eucalyptus, this is their, I'd say, most traditional vessel, which is a 7.5 ounce candle. Go in here, and it's just sort of a milky, opaque container with their label on the bottom here. Clear on the bottom, just tumbler, and the small label up the side, as you can see there, eucalyptus. And I'll read you the notes on the box and then dig into the notes again as listed on their website. It says here, a transformative moment to energize and awaken your senses. This fresh, lively fragrance infuses your day with unlimited possibility. Invigorating eucalyptus oil, crisp Italian lemon, energizing petitgrain, sweet bergamot, lively lemongrass, and lush fir. Let's sniff it. This is very powdery eucalyptus. It is not that astringent eucalyptus that you sometimes get. It is soft. It's grounding and energizing and a bit invigorating, as the adjective they actually use, invigorating eucalyptus oil. It is a true eucalyptus. Obviously, it is an interpretation with those other notes in there. It's not pure single note eucalyptus, although you'd be hard pressed to find any single note fragrance out there. It probably wouldn't be very exciting or enticing. When it comes to the lemon, the petitgrain, the bergamot, I would say this is sort of a spa meets, based on strength, I call this sort of a home cleaner. So not like, it doesn't smell like, your cleaning tools or your cleaning materials, but it cleans the air in your home. Now, not literally, it's not an air purifier, get a HEPA filter, but other scents that are there, it travels, and it is a strong, refreshing, spa-like, clean fragrance. Getting into the specific notes here, absolutely the eucalyptus is probably 60-70% of this. Lemongrass is going to be a very green lemon. Of course, it is that plant that is used oftentimes in Thai and Vietnamese cooking, and it's somewhat astringent. It is refreshing. It is sort of an herbal green lemon, almost like a verbena, but lemongrass. There is some of that in there because you'd almost say, it's not lemon, it's lemony, but herbal green. Your bergamot, very low in the bergamot, a bit there to bring that kind of sparkling warmth, that really zippy edge that you can get from bergamot. Fir is interesting. I wouldn't have thought of the fir in here. This is not sort of your holiday. This is not a even woody blend, but there's a bit of, I could see some fir in the background there. I don't know if I would have called it out as fir specifically, but something that is a little bit of that sort of sweetly balsamic resinous wood. Could have almost been a cedar, but leans a little bit more toward that traditional fir. And petitgrain is an interesting one. So petitgrain, if you're not familiar, is actually a distillation of the twigs and leaves of the bitter orange tree. So bergamot can give you, bergamot, bitter orange tree, the fruit of the tree. You can also have your blossom as another fragrance from the tree, and you can have literally the distillation of the twigs and leaves, kind of a little bit more tannic, a little woody, a little bit of maybe floral to it, but still going to be in that sort of citrusy family, but a little bit more floral and woody and green and kind of tannic. Think you're drinking wine and it dries you out a little bit. The sort of tannins that come from literal stems and leaves. And so that just adds, I think, some depth to that without going full on, hey, throw in some sandalwood or throw in some oak or something truly heavily wood. A heavy hit of almost powder, not a floral choke you out powder, really a more eucalyptus, a dried eucalyptus where you can, the leaves already have a bit of almost like a white powder on them, that fresh, soft spa eucalyptus. Really, really love this. I burned it, I think just once maybe so far. Performance was solid. I do think I did have to put a little bit of foil around the edge to just get full pull. Didn't take too long and then performed just fine without it. The throw, this was a really strong candle. First of all, the fact that it's pure paraffin, that is, makes it a bit easier for it to have that throw and projection, but also they must put in a healthy dose of fragrance oils in here. Sometimes your single wicks are like, your powder room, your small bedrooms. This one was in my study, but it had a strong throw. Didn't really want it on the desk next to me. Had to be, on a piece of furniture across the room, and it was traveling throughout the level. Just, it's such a fresh day scent, but it's not just your top notes of just your zippy fresh herbs and citruses. It's got so much depth to it. Now, to do my comparison review, to compare that to Slack & Co. Eucalyptus. This is from the Bath & Body Works days. This one was poured back in 2012. They don't make this anymore. They haven't for years. I think this is the last time that this came out. Bath & Body Works now does a ton of their eucalyptus mint through their aromatherapy collection, eucalyptus spearmint. Very, very different than this. That is a much cleaner, fresher, kind of wetter fragrance with the mint that comes in there. Cooling. This one, not so much cooling. The notes on this, a refreshing and uplifting scent combining crisp eucalyptus with hints of orchard citrus, probably the bergamot, because sniffing this, they are supremely similar. I can't imagine that one copied the other, although that happens in fragrance world all the time, and most of the time it's not called out as a dupe. It's just sort of, hey, this is something everybody likes. Let's try to make something to sell. So could one of them been inspired by the other? Potentially, but I honestly don't know who it would have been, because these both could have been around, again, a decade ago plus. I loved this candle, and I'm so happy that I have a replacement for it, essentially, because they're very similar. Granted, this one being so old and has not been lit, the oils are not as fresh to get out of there. And maybe it was a little bit softer, a little bit lighter. This one really knocks you over the head, and maybe even is a bit more complex, which Slack & Co. tended to be fairly complex, and even getting into Homeworks and the history of Harry Slacken's brands, pretty complex, truly a fine home fragrance. This potentially has more going on. I don't know that I got so much of the lemon that this one had. Certainly some sort of lemongrass, probably. Maybe not the fir in this, but boy, oh boy, they are the kind of thing where when you don't smell them side by side, they smell pretty much the same. Which eucalyptus, there are a ton of eucalyptus fragrances out there, but this was something that I had never smelled another eucalyptus like this one until I smelled this one, and I'm really, really happy with it. So if you ever did love this one at Bath & Body Works, this is a great replacement for it. And I do recommend this. Again, if you like herbals, if you like those spa blends, this is certainly one for you. If you want something that is sort of on the aromatherapeutic edge, don't be turned off by just a single note, because there is so much clearly going on in this fragrance. I would love to hear what you think. If you've experienced Thymes, want to hear more about it. I have purchased one other from them. I think perhaps they're most known for one of their holiday Fraser Fir blends. So this is a 6.5 ounce, sort of a travel tin, but not necessarily even travel. It's a double-walled tin, which I've never purchased a candle in a tin that's double-walled. I'm assuming maybe that helps insulate it to burn more evenly, hopefully, because that's a solid diameter there for a single wick candle. This smells really, truly beautiful. I'll be doing a review on this one later in the year. All I have to say, let me know what you think if you have purchased Thymes, if there are other signature scents of theirs that you're a fan of. I would love to hear about it. Until next time, take care.